Hey, Spider Nation, welcome back to another episode of Spider-Man's Tangled WebShow. I'm Jonathan, webmaster of SpiderManFanRave.com, SpiderManFanRave.com. Going over there, got some pretty cool Spider-Man stuff. If you're a fan of the character, if you like celebrating the character of Spider-Man, go on over there, have a good time. SpiderManFanRave.com, all one word, no special characters, just SpiderManFanRave.com. Go on over there, enjoy yourself, please. I welcome you. All right, tonight I'm being joined by James. What's going on, James?
Not much. Just enjoying a nice peaceful day. I went out to went out to lunch today. Went over to what's that place called? Buffalo Wild Wings. I couldn't think of the name. I feel like an idiot now. Went out to Buffalo Wild Wings, had a good lunch. The other day I went out to the movies with my friends. My day off, we went to go see that Harker Henry. So I didn't really care for it. It was like I thought it was kind of stupid, but my friends liked it a lot. And then afterwards, we went to IHOP and during the middle of the night and just hung out and told stories until like an hour. We were done eating and we still were like at that IHOP for like an hour, just getting refills of our iced coffees, just shooting the breeze about the most dumbest of topics. One of them being old '90s songs we used to hear on the radios when we were kids and get all nostalgic for them. I don't want the world to see me, and I'll stop here before YouTube shuts us down.
Bye, 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 bye.
Funny enough, we didn't get the boy bands. We got to more like kind of the indie stuff that was really popular in the mid-'90s, like the Goo Goo Dolls and all that stuff, and the Pearl Jams, and the Hootie and the Blowfish. That was the kind of stuff we're talking about. Because for us, it's like, hey, remember when we were kids and we were like on our way to school and our mom had the radio on? Remember that song? And we had no idea what the song was about. Yeah, good times. Good times.
Can you pay my bills? Can you pay my telephone bills? I'll stop here. Please.
Yeah, so we did stuff like that. We just hanged out, and I got work, but work is work. Oh, and school, obviously. Work and school. Rinse and repeat any other thing I said about them. I mean, you have your good days, you have your bad days, but nothing really that's like breaking news I need to report on right this second.
As for myself this week, what's been going on? Well, I've been sick today. Got a migraine, unfortunately. So if I seem like in a crotchety mood tonight or in a grumpy mood tonight, that's kind of why. Also because there's something we're going to talk about later at in the latter part of the show.
Get ready for a since past rant by John. I'm just warning people. I had to go and talk about 100 different fucking topics with him before we went live on the show to try to get his mind off of what he's going to rant about on the show. Because John looks like he's about to go Mount St. Helens on us.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Get ready, people. Strap in. But yeah, other than that, not really much to talk about this week, in all honesty. It's been kind of a boring week here in Northeast Ohio. Well, I cannot say the same for Spider-Man, though. It's not been a boring week for Spider-Man. This week we've had quite a bit of news, actually. Let's see. That guy who's playing Spider-Man now. Oh, what's his name? Is his name Joe Schmo?
No, his name is Tobey Maguire.
I thought it was Andrew Garfield.
No, I'm pretty sure it was Nicholas Hammond.
Oh, are we sure we're not thinking of Christopher Daniel Barnes?
No, I think it's that one Japanese guy who has the robot.
Okay, we're kidding. Yes, Tom Holland, he not only did he attend the Civil War red carpet premiere where he held Captain America's shield, but he also later that night flew out to CinemaCon and presented the new logo and as it is. Spider-Man Homecoming hit theaters July 7th, 2000. Now, we got the new title and we got the new logo. The logo, I'm not going to use it for the thumbnail. The thumbnail is going to be this week's issue of ASM. But the logo, just to describe it quickly for anyone who hasn't seen it, is basically just a goofy Spider-Man logo with the word Homecoming under it. But the O in Homecoming is the Spidey mask symbol emoji or whatever.
It looks Deadpool. When I saw that, I'm like, oh, great, you got that from the Deadpool poster, didn't you?
Yeah, so Tom presented that, and we've also learned some very interesting casting details about the movie. First off, Michael Keaton is in talks to play the villain, We don't know who the villain is yet officially, but there's a very heavy rumors about it. And when we look at Michael Keaton, those rumors actually kind of start to sound true. And then we also have more additional casting news that we'll get to as we move down the line here. But James, we'll just start off. General thoughts. What do you think of the title? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you understand the metatextual pun that's clearly in there?
I don't like it. It had me at Marvel Spider-Man. It lost me at Homecoming. Because I just hear that it's like the name of the first Spider-Man movie. It's the same reason I didn't like the first Avenger, or I mean, like when they were called like the next Avenger, like one of the rumor working titles for it. It was like I don't care about that. Because I think the first movie of your franchise should just be the brand name. Like it should just been like Marvel's Spectacular Spider-Man or Marvel's Ultimate Spider-Man, or because I'm not going to use Amazing because Amazing has already been used. And then, but you know, they could just call it Marvel's Studio Spider-Man or Marvel Sony Spider-Man or something that, and not Spider-Man Homecoming. And I just think Homecoming is stupid. It's lame. I think I like the logo. It looks like it's tacked on. It's like white spray paint of Homecoming, and then the Spider-Man mask in the middle, like Fan 4-6 logo almost, and or Deadpool, and but that's what it looks like because it has they use the mask as the O, and it's like, oh, I see what you did there.
Oh damn! Ooh, when you compare
Power
it to
Ranger movie that same day at the same convention, the Power Ranger movie announced their logo, and their logo has kind of been shit on by some of the members of the Power Ranger fandom. But I really like the Power Ranger logo because the reason I'm saying right now is because, well, at least it's not Spider-Man Homecoming. Because I just don't like the logo. I do like how they went with the classic Spider-Man kind of arched, curved Spider-Man. But the Homecoming just is the thing I just don't like, and I get the pun. It's probably, like I said, how much you want to bet that the whole teenage Peter Parker drama is going to be, I got to find a date for the Homecoming dance. I got to find a date for the Homecoming dance. Oh, I got to fight whoever Michael Keaton's playing. But, probably the Vulture, but I got to make sure I get in time for the Homecoming dance. And, oh, yeah, it's a joke because Marvel got the fucking rights back to use him.
Yeah, that is something we should also bring up. Like, Kevin Feige came out in an interview this week and basically said, this is my movie, Sony's just distributing it. Like,
well, he didn't come out and basically say that. He said it in a more kind of diplomatic way. He said it in more of a kind of, it doesn't make Sony look like jabronis. He said it in a way of like, it's a Marvel Studio production distributed by Sony. He makes it out like kind of like what they got to deal with the Hulk movies and like what they used to have with the Iron Man movies. It's like they're the distributor that is getting money and cut of it because they own the rights to it, and we're the and instead of them going through their own studio or some other independent studio working for them for distribution, they're working with us on it. Some people are the ones that are running like this is proof that Sony has no power whatsoever. And
which
remember,
like
Kevin Feige has confirmed that. He goes, yeah, it's a Marvel Studio, Sony production, Sony distribution, Marvel Studio Productions. But that means we can't do anything on the Spider-Man movies or when he appears in our own stuff without Sony signing up. If they say no deal on anything, that's it.
Yeah, because it's like I mean, let me clarify what I was saying. Like he said that it's like a Marvel Studios movie almost distributed by Sony, but it's a Marvel Studios movie that has to be checked off and approved by Sony. That's really the more truthful way to describe. That's the more truthful, accurate way to describe it.
I truly think he was just trying to clear up because, like I said, that Entertainment Weekly magazine doesn't even take the hint when they read that when they quote that. I think he was trying to like address some of the people who are like, wait, you're saying you're sharing the character. Does that mean that these are two different worlds and it's just the same actor, or is they the same universe, or does that mean that Sony's going to continue on with the Andrew Garfield movies? Like, there's some people in the Hollywood system that are confused by this. So I saw what you saw there, John. So he's kind of like, coming out and saying, nope, he's in our world and our characters are. You're not going to see a different Sony version of Iron Man. That's going to be Robert Downey if he appears in it. This Spider-Man, everything he does, you're going to wake up. Daredevil's going to wake up the next morning, open up the newspaper, and say, "Oh, basically was what he's saying. It is the same guy. It's the same world."
There's someone else in my city. He's cleaning up my city because it's my city.
Well, to be fair, I think it's going to be more Peter's going to have Manhattan, and then fucking Daredevil is going to – and then Harlem's going to be Luke Cage territory, and probably Jessica Jones after season 2 of her show picks up. And then and then you're gonna have Hell's Kitchen. That's Murdoch's territory.
That's my city, not in my city. Get out of my city.
And then you're gonna have.
I don't know why I love them so
and then they're gonna have Punisher appear in one of the Spider-Man things because MCU version of Miles Warren is gonna hire him to take a hit out, just like the first appearance of Punisher in the comics.
And he looks at Spider-Man and he's like, "Oh God damn it, not another red guy." Now I'm gonna confuse the two of them.
Okay, okay. You're not an Avenger, right? And you're just a vigilante street level hero. Yes. And you're wearing a red mask. Yep. And you're not a devil. No, I'm a spider. Well, I'm gonna kill you anyways because this is just too confusing.
Okay, but I'll give my thoughts on the title. I don't mind the title. Like I really don't. I think it's fine. Personally, like out of all the titles that were rumored, there was one that was Spider-Man Coming of Age. I would have preferred that one, but this one's fine.
That one's more of a subtitle, like Coming of Age. I think it would be kind of like Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Like that's more of a like a subtitle where you can ignore it. This one, it's like, nope, the title is Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't really bother me. I don't think the Homecoming title is awful. I understand the metatextual pun because it's
I just think it's lame. Like if you're gonna do that thing where you're not gonna call it like Spider, I mean, sorry if I interrupted you. My thing is like. I would be okay with Homecoming if this was like the sequel, like the second movie, Spider-Man: Homecoming. And it's like, I get the pun. Yeah, I get it. But because it's movie number one, I felt like they should just call it Spectacular Spider-Man or Marvel Spider-Man, and then the sequel be Spider-Man: Homecoming.
It doesn't bother me that much. I think it's fine. I will say we'll kind of gradually move in here. Michael Keaton in talks to play, who's rumored to be the Vulture. All right, it's heavily rumored that he's going to be the Vulture. And when I look at Michael Keaton, and let's keep in mind here, look what movie he played with Emma Stone. It was called Birdman back in 2014, which is actually a very good movie.
Which is based, and it's a parody of his life after not longer being Batman, pretty much.
And what the premise is that he's going to play the Vulture in this movie. And when I look at Michael Keaton, given everything I know about him, yep, sounds about right. Sounds about right. Like, yeah, I would. I mean, I'll give my thoughts first. I'd be perfectly fine with Michael Keaton as the Vulture. I would be okay with Vulture being on screen. I think the aerial combat aspect of the action there that the Vulture could incorporate into the story would actually be very interesting to see on screen. It'd be a good way to test some special effects for them. And I think there's there's an interesting new dynamic that could be brought to it. I mean, because aside really from Goblins, we haven't had a lot of aerial combat in Spider-Man movies. But actually, now that I think about it, how many Spider-Man movies have had Goblins in them? 3 out of the 5 so far. So screw what I just said there. But I think it could be interesting, like given the Vulture and given his new dynamic, and plus James pointed something out to me that I think is absolutely they have to put in this movie. He has to at some point say, "I'm Vulture." Because we all know who Michael Keaton played back in 1989. All right, but yeah, I'm fine with Michael Keaton being the Vulture. If he is the Vulture, I mean, it's heavily rumored that he is. It's not official yet, but if he is, I'm fine with that. I think he could do a great job. I think he could bring a lot of dimension to the character. And I actually what I'm kind of hoping is that they flesh out the Vulture a little bit more. Maybe include the backstory that Roger Stern and JRJR gave him in Amazing 240 and 241, where he was screwed over by his business partner, and so that's kind of his motivation a bit.
Oh, and how he was best friends with Nathan Lubinski.
That could be an interesting thing as well. I mean, I wouldn't want him to just be like a stereotypical villain of the week. I'd want him to have a little bit more depth and backstory, like a lot of the previous villains in Spider-Man movies have. And I think Michael Keaton would be a good actor who could definitely fill out that kind of depth. And so, yeah, I don't have a problem with them using the Vulture. He could bring a great new image, and he could bring a lot of life to the screen. And well, okay, metaphorically speaking, but the Vulture's got one foot in the grave. We all know that. But other than that, yeah, I'm perfectly fine with Michael Keaton as the Vulture. So, James, What do you think? Do you want to see Batman play Vulture?
I mean, I'm a huge Michael Keaton fan. Don't get me wrong. I want Michael Keaton in this movie. Michael Keaton is my favorite. I love what Christian Bale did with the character. I absolutely thought that Minus the Killing, Ben Affleck did a great Batman. And I got a little bit of Adam West. Everybody got to love a little bit of cheese and camp every now and then. And of course, my ideal Batman is always Kevin Conroy from the '90s show. But when it goes back to those live action versions, when I think the Batman I see is always Michael Keaton from '89 and Batman Returns. So as a Michael Keaton fan, I so love it. And him as Vulture, to quote Tim Burton about why he got cast as Batman back in '89. He totally looks like a guy who needs to dress up like a bat, only replace here bat with Vulture. I can see Michael Keaton. I can see totally how this kind of old, quirky guy would need to dress up like as something in order to get noticed, In this MCU Marvel universe where it's like, I need something to get noticed. I need to have something. I'll make a suit where I can fly. And it'll be green. It'll be awesome. I'll have wings like that Falcon guy on the Avengers.
I was just gonna say that, like, oh shit, Falcon already did that. God damn. Okay, what's my next move? Okay, I'll build an iron suit. God damn it, Tony Stark already did that.
No. He's going down the game plan of his list of. If he is Vulture, I want a joke about how twice they were going to use Vulture in the Raimi movies and they didn't use them. How he should go. Okay, my first master plan: team up with Sandman. No, I don't. We can't do that. Second plan: make Black Cat become the Vultures. No, I can't do that either. Damn it. But yeah, I'm okay with it, and I want it to be a new villain. I just don't think he's going to be Vulture. And the main reason why I don't think so is, like you said, Birdman. He already played that role. Literally, a flying bird guy in a superhero thing. He did it already. I could see Michael Keaton being like, you're not going to get Michael Keaton, I don't think, to be like typecast as Birdman. Like, oh, he also played Birdman in the Spider-Man movie. He's not going to do that.
I don't think he's going to be typecast, though, because, I mean, he's Michael Keaton.
No, I'm not saying typecast as in like, oh, everybody's going to remember him now as Birdman. No, he's going to be Batman. He's Mr. Mom. He's Beetlejuice. He's 1,000 other roles. He's Johnny Dangerously. He did 1,000 other great roles. He's not typecast. He was the fucking snowman in that goddamn Christmas movie like 10 years ago. He's not going to get typecast. What I mean, like, I can see him being like, I don't want to go into a movie where people are just going to look at it and say, oh, look, he's playing Birdman again, or it's Birdman meets Spider-Man. I think if they're going after Michael Keaton, I think he's going to be a different villain. Now, he's not Osborn, because they have basically come up and say he's not the main villain in this movie without saying who it is yet. He is new, and he's nobody who we've seen yet in the movie. He could be anything. A Vulture, I can see maybe, but I just don't see after Birdman them saying, oh, we got to get the guy who played Birdman, Michael Keaton. I think it's going to be, I think it's somebody else. And I'm not going Craven. Like, I heard a few other people saying, oh, he's Craven. But I don't know who they would cast him as, but I just don't right now see it as Vulture because he played Birdman. He already did that. I can see Keaton being like, oh, been there, done that. And, I don't think that would be the case. I think if Keaton's doing this, I think it's a different villain. It's not Adrian Toomes.
I don't know. I mean, like, I think it could really work as the Vulture. And something else that we should mention here that I just actually remembered is remember back like, oh God, it was last summer when we were talking about Marissa Tomei possibly being Aunt May. Yeah, turns out she really is Aunt May. I really didn't think that was real. But they
remember that leaked because Jerry Seinfeld, who is a huge comic book nerd, and Marissa Tomei was on his show back in the 90s, and he tweeted a photo of it. Hey, I just heard from a friend that she got cast as Aunt May. That means George dated Aunt May. And then it got a retweet by Kevin Feige or somebody at Marvel, and everybody jumped to the conclusion. I'm like, no, it's probably just they tweeted because, hey, they're mentioning our Spider-Man movie. And it turned out to be, no, it was a wink like, you're right.
And it was like, because for anyone who doesn't know, they actually brought her out at the Civil War premiere and introduced her as Aunt May Parker. And I was just like, wait a minute. So you're telling me that was real? Are you?
And the whole fact that they introduced her as a member of the cast, they just say there's like they have said there's like 30 minutes of Spider-Man and like 10 minutes of Peter Parker, I think. So and her in the movie, I totally want to see what that Aunt May scene is. Like, is it just be, hey Aunt May, I gotta go team up with the Avengers now, bye, or just be back by bedtime, Peter, you got a test tomorrow. Like, is that gonna be it? Like, I really now want to see what this Aunt May MCU scene is.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, here's the thing. I don't like I said before, I don't have a problem with Marissa Tomei being Aunt May. I don't have a problem with it. I'm just like, wait a minute, that was actually real? Because I didn't believe it for the longest time.
Some people have a problem with it because, as they put it, she's too hot. Now, I'm not into like women in their late 40s, early 50s. You know, I'm not a cougar hunter or whatever. You know, she's attractive, she's beautiful. I'm not gonna say that she's ugly or anything. I'm not gonna say that. But the people who are still like who were like 20 or teenagers in the 90s that go, she's too hot to be anime, guys. I'm not making a joke about old people in their 40s and 50s not being attractive or anything. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying though, she's old enough. Not saying that she's too young and hot to be Aunt May. You're talking about a person who was on TV shows and movies in the 90s now being in something in 2016. She is old enough to be Aunt May. She is not too young and hot. That's like saying, oh my God, Robert Downey Jr. is too young and handsome to be Tony Stark.
All right, but yeah, so Marissa Tomei is officially Aunt May. I didn't see it. I really didn't see that coming, I swear. Like, I honestly thought that was bullshit, but okay, turns out it's actually real. But now the final piece of movie casting news that we have for this week is we've got 2 new supporting cast members for Tom Holland in Spider-Man Homecoming as part of his high school group. Now, here's the thing. I am possibly going to butcher these people's names, so I'm really sorry. I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm reading off a comingsoon.net article, but there's other articles from Comic Book Resources, comicbook.com, a lot of places, and evidently these were broken by The Wrap and Deadline. We have Laura Harrier. I'm sorry. She was on One Life to Live, and Tony Revolori. I'm sorry. He was on the Grand Budapest Hotel, and they've signed on for mystery roles in the Marvel Cinematic Universe sequel, which means they have come out and said, okay, these guys, they're going to be part of the high school group. Laura, the Laura Harrier girl, is going to actually be a significant role, and she's going to be like a very, very prominent person in the movie. Do I smell Liz Allen, James?
I definitely think, I look at her and I saw her and I immediately think, that's Liz from goddamn Spectacular Spider-Man. I'm calling it now. Allen. Yeah, it's got to be Liz. Like, I'm not going to go on the whole race thing where you have to be a redhead to be Mary Jane, you have to be a blonde to be Gwen, and you have to be white hair to be Felicia Hardy. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I look at her and I see, and she kind of has a look of similar to her from Spectacular. I'm calling it right now. It's Liz.
It's Liz. It's so Liz. It's like, it's not even funny. But
she's like the only team to go. You want high school Peter Parker, and you don't want to use Gwen or Mary Jane because they have already been used. Liz is like the obvious choice, because you're not going to do Betty, because even though Stan Lee has said 100 times that Betty is the same age as Peter, calm the fuck down, there's still people who treat her as, oh, she was his 20-something hot secretary and she was dating Peter Parker, a teenager, and she taught him how to be a man and all this stuff. It's like, ew, gross. No, that's not what that's not what Stan did, people. Stan Lee has said she's the same age and she had to drop out of school and take a job. Now, see what happened with fucking Ned. Yeah, that's the creepy element of a 20-something-year-old journalist, but I like to say in my own headcanon, Ned and Betty didn't start hooking up until she turned 18. When her and Peter 18 is when he came in. It's also like an 18-year-old girl dating a 20-something guy fresh out of college, journalist school. I mean, that it's not that creepy, but anything to get off that. If you're not going to do Betty because you're going to have the whole, oh, she's the older woman thing, it had to be Liz.
I would be okay with this girl as Liz. I mean, it's unconfirmed right now. We don't know anything. This is all just speculation on our part, but I'd be fine with her as Liz. I'd be completely fine with it. I think she could be a great Liz. And I will clarify here by saying that I've never heard of either of these two people before.
I never heard of that guy. But I got a question. Is it racist of me the second I saw the guy and I thought, oh my God, he's the son of the guy who disappeared in Amazing Spider-Man by Liz?
Oh, Dr. Rotha?
Yeah.
Possibly. I don't know. I kind of don't want to touch that one, but
About the guy though, like I see him. They said he's a part of the gang, but she's the significant role. He's probably just going to be a classmate in the school then. It's probably going to be a case of, yeah, he's in 4 or 5 scenes, but they're all just like, hey, Parker, what's the answer to question number 3 on the science test? Tell me or I'll beat you up after school. It's going to be something like that. He's not Flash. I look at that guy. I do not see Flash Thompson. I think you got to have that really muscular jock thing, and I don't see that in this guy.
You know who he's going to be? He's going to be Charlie Wiederman.
I can see that. They could do that. If they want to make it Charlie Wiederman, I can see that. If they want to make it what's his name? I can't think of it right now. The guy, like I said, the guy from who was in the old books in the '60s, disappeared when Peter and Flash went to college, and then came back to Marvel Knights to be killed. It could be that guy, or it could be somebody new. It could be Kong, for all we know. But I don't think he's Flash. Flash, you gotta have, like, he has to be that big, muscular, like that. When you think of a high school jock, that's Flash. Well, it's not going to be this guy who seems kind of skinny and scrawny in my book. To be
fair, a lot of people said the same thing about Venom and Topher Grace, and I still think Topher Grace was a great Venom. But
yeah, but that's kind of different. That's kind of like just taking a care like Eddie Brock, who's a photographer and journalist, and saying, okay, he's not a bodybuilder. He's going to be a same build as Peter Parker. This is captain of the football team. I think you got to have that square jaw, really muscular jockey guy. It's like, yeah, hey Parker, what's up, Nuggy? You got to have someone who can fit that bill.
All right, yeah. But yeah, I mean, we don't know who these people are yet, but congratulations to them for being cast. We hope you have a good time, and we hope to learn more about you as we go through the production process, and hopefully you guys can do well and have a good time while you're doing it. But I think that's all the movie casting news. I think that's all we have. There's nothing else that's immediately coming to mind.
There was a lot of superhero news this weekend, from stuff from DC to Doctor Strange, all the Spider-Man Homecoming stuff. Civil War is coming out in the next few months, and they're already screening it in premieres. You got Power Ranger movie is making a lot of headlines right now because of some of the stuff that they're revealing with logos and stuff. More to come in the weeks to come. They've been saying, you got Doctor Strange, you got Suicide Squad, you got Ninja Turtles. If you're a comic book superhero action, that same kind of in that general the superhero kind of thing, this is a really great time.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna I joked that from Star Wars to the Power Ranger movie, this is the beginning of like a 13-month build that's like heaven for me, because you got Star Wars movies, you got Marvel movies, you got DC movies, you got Turtles, you got Rangers, you got Deadpool, you got X-Men, you got Avengers, Spider-Man. This is a really great time to be a comic book fan. Like, I can't remember it being like this big where everybody had something going on, except for the Fantastic Four, but fuck them after Fan Forcing. But everybody else has something going on.
All right, but we will move on to the next portion of this podcast. Oh God, I don't want to do this, James. I don't want to do.
Can we just skip it and talk about Iron Man issue 8, which is actually a pretty good, decent issue?
Oh, I hate that comic too.
But I didn't mind it. I just didn't like how it was promoted as Road to Civil War, and it had nothing to do with Civil War.
All right, let's get this out of the way with Amazing Spider-Man Volume 4, number 10. Let's see who created this. Scorpio Rising Part 2, Power Play. Dan Slott writer, Giuseppe Camuncoli penciler, Cam Smith inker, Marte Garcia colorist, lettering, VC's Joe Caramagna, Alex Ross cover artist, assistant editor Devin Lewis, editor Nick Lowe. Nice little ad for Captain America Steve Rogers number 1 there, May 2016, people.
I still don't like that suit.
Yeah, well, the suit doesn't like you either, James.
Why hasn't he got his shield? Why did they give Falcon like a new shield and give Cap his old one? I mean,
because when Steve passed the shield, it was not with conditions. It was a shield passing.
Yeah, he said the same thing to Bucky, and we all saw what happened there.
Paris, ladies and gentlemen. Scorpio, ugh, hi. Can you give me a sec? Just fell all the way from space. Seriously, Worst jet lag ever. Exactly. I knew you'd be here in this pitiful state. Out of web fluid, armor destroyed, no spider-mobiles or spider rockets. Arachno rocket. Really? Huh. I agree with those guys on the podcast who made fun of that name, because it's stupid. And I'm going to point it out here in your own comic.
Not just podcasts, like almost everybody. I have not seen one person yet who said they'd like that legitimately, and not in a campy, silly, yeah, I like it because it's so stupid. I have not seen anybody who legitimately said, I like it and thought it was a great idea.
Regardless, there's nothing left to save you now, except my spider sense, spider speed, spider strength, and shit dialogue. Absolutely piss poor dialogue. Because even if you strip all that other stuff away, I'm still Spider-Man, and I still have my moves. Here's one a certain master of Kung Fu taught me. Though I will give credit here. There was a pretty funny moment where Spider-Man notices a massive design flaw in the Zodiac Key, where there's a giant hole that he could punch Scorpio right in the face through it. I did like that part. That was funny. I thought that was pretty good. So Zodiac is like, whatever, you punched me in the face. Well, I don't care because I'm going to endanger civilians. Spider-Man says, no, I can't web them out of the way. Use up all my normal webbing. All that's left are special cartridges, acid webs, concrete webs. That'd kill them. Then that just leaves a good old-fashioned low-tech push. Excusez-moi, which translates to excuse me from French. I took 2 years of high school French, so I was actually able to translate everything in this book on my own because it was actually very, very basic. So Spider-Man pushes them all out of the way and takes a car to the back, which had to have hurt like hell. And Scorpio's just about to finish him off. But what happens just as Scorpio's about to finish him off? God damn, my wife's calling. Honey, can't this wait until I get home? No, it's actually the Gemini people, because he has to stop what he's doing and get to the station immediately. They have the equipment and they must go now. He says, what? But I was winning. Would you rather win the battle or the war? I hate you. Yo, where you think you're going? Yeah, you better run. Ugh. There, that showed him. Yay me. Yay, Spider-Man can't even win a stupid fight.
Remember when Spider-Man was able to win fights? I miss those days.
Andrew Correctional Facility in upstate New York, we have a man in a red coat with blonde hair. I'm picturing a very large mustache and a set of glasses here. So let's just say it right now. We have Miles Warren talking to the Rhino. You've studied the schematics, Alexei. You know where to find the men I want. Yeah, the lizard and not the lizard. Dr. Kurt Connors. I want the brain. The scales, they're just a perk package. But the other guy on the list, I've worked with him before, and stop trying to think for me. There's only one way I need you to use your head, Rhino. Understood? Yes. Good. Now go do that buttheady thing. That head... buttheady thing. Buttheady thing. Butthead.
I'm sorry, I can't laugh at it. I'm this comic. It's like you want to get to stuff like that. I can't even laugh at it because, like, oh my god, just get this over with.
Now go do that head buddy thing you do so well. Make Daddy proud. Who the fuck says head buddy? All right.
And slot written characters.
So Anna Maria and the Living Brain show up because
here we go. This is where the fun begins.
They're in a flying car because
I have a bad feeling about this.
Because comics, they're in a flying car. Paris, France. Spider-Man's location is straight ahead, 15 meters. Thanks, Brain. Or should I say, merci beaucoup. Vous êtes le bienvenu, Anna. Where click, click. I don't even know how to fucking speak French because that's not how you fucking say you're welcome. He worded that wrong. That's not actually the right translation for French. If you're going to say you're welcome in French, but whatever, I'll let it go.
It probably came out a bit offended. It's probably because it's a robot, from the 60s trying to say it. So of course it's gonna sound weird.
No, it's because you want me to be perfectly honest here. Like I don't mean to offend anybody. It's because Dan Slott typed it into Google Translate, and we all know how well Google Translate works.
Yeah, you're probably right. Right, more likely.
So, I don't mean to offend Dan Slott, but like that is what happens when
I
people
do.
who don't speak a language. When people who don't speak a language try to type it into Google Translate, you get all kinds of weird, crappy results. So I don't mean to be a dick about it, but it's just like that's what happens, and that's clearly what happened here. So, silly robot, you've just been full of surprises lately, haven't you? So Spider-Man says, "There's my ride. I wanted to say, anyone here speak English or Mandarin? I can speak Mandarin now. Oui, anglais. Most of us know it. I wanted to thank you, not just for the assist, but the whole time I was out of it, not one of you tried to peek under my mask. You're amazing. All of you. They're amazing. Get it? Wink." But, yeah, so they're like, no problem, Spider-Man. You saved us. We're going to save you. All right, Anna, let's go find Scorpio. Allons-y, which for those of you who don't speak French, that means let's go. So Spider-Man starts trying to change. He starts changing out of his spider armor costume, whatever it is in this issue, and they decide, okay, look, I need to find Scorpio. Where can we go? The Channel. I'm punching it. All right, we might just pull this off. I still don't know where Scorpio's going, but if it was more important than finishing me off, that can't be good. Say, did you remember to bring your spare suit and more web fluid, Dr. Parker? Click. I just want to throw this out there. Every time he says "word click," does that bother anybody else? Like, it just sounds so forced and annoying. But Spider-Man says, "Thanks, Brain, but it's Spider-Man when I'm in the mask, okay? While I've got you, can you do a quick medical scan? I'm so bashed up, I don't know what's out of place." Word click, click. Your body is perfect, quick to heal, powerful, the ultimate vessel. If you want my body and you think I'm sexy. I'm sorry, I had to throw that reference in there. That was exactly what I thought of when
you already fucking had it.
All right. Whoa, that was odd. Now I'm feeling self-conscious and half-dressed. Anna Maria Marconi, eyes on the road. What road, Peter? We're in a goddamn flying car because you're Tony Stark now. So, Scorpio is on the train. He puts these helmets on the train employees to turn them into Zodiac members. Whatever. It's the Marvel Universe. Stranger things have happened. I can let that go, to be honest with you. I can let that go. But Spider-Man, all of a sudden, they hear him over the train intercom. "I'm coming," or "Hello, Channel Train? This is Spider-Man. I'm coming to you over a secure shield channel. We believe some of your passengers might be Zodiac terrorists. Remain calm. I'm on the way." So Scorpio suits up to go and fight Spider-Man. Sure you're up for this, Peter? "Yeah, Anna. Exactly how fast is this thing?" 300 kilometers per hour. English? 186 miles per hour. Okay, thanks. The last time we tried to change the metric system, that was the Jimmy Carter administration. Look how successful that transition was. All right, no sweat. I've got wall crawling sticky fingers. They've held on to Thor's hammer and Silver Surfer's surfboard. Think I can handle a train going 186 miles per... Ooh! Ow, 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 this is bad. My toes, it's peeling all the sticky right off my 10 little piggies. Oh my God. I can't even get through this. It's peeling all the sticky right off my 10 little piggies. Come on, hands, get in on this. And hey, why is my spider sense going at full blast all of a Scorpio? So they somewhat fight on the train where Spider-Man realizes that, his webs aren't going to work because he's going at 186 miles per hour and they're not going to go anywhere but behind him because, physics. Because, as a scientist, physics is something that he should understand, but he clearly doesn't. And
doesn't even understand the metric system. What I think Peter, which I could be wrong here, but there's been issues before where Peter's been able to figure out the fucking metric system.
Yeah, so to be honest with you, that doesn't bother me. We've not even gotten to what bothered me in this comic. We've not even gotten there yet. Oh boy. Strap in, people. So Scorpio says, "Hey, remember when I endangered civilians and got away before? Let's try that trick again." Guess what? It works. Again. It works. twice in 10 pages because Amazing Spider-Man Volume 4, evidently. So Spider-Man's incapacitated because Scorpio collapses the tunnel on top of Anna and the living brain. Meanwhile, Miles Warren gets Lizard and Electro out of the prison, and they are going off to set up Dead No More because it's the most interesting part of this comic, to be honest with you. Now, let's get to my favorite page. And when I say my favorite page, I mean the page. Well, I'll explain it. How about we take you to a hospital, Peter? I don't need a hospital, Anna. You had a car dropped on you. You jumped off a high-speed train, and I fell from low Earth orbit. If I can walk away from that, I can walk away from anything. Okay, first of all, Peter, if you fell from low Earth orbit and you had 2 cars and a train impact to deal with, Peter, you need to go to a hospital, all right? Just because you survived one doesn't mean that those injuries are just going to go away. All the other injuries are going to add on to that.
For all he knows, he has eternal bleeding, and he's not fucking doing anything about it. This is idiot, Peter Parker.
It's like, Peter Parker, I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure your logic here is bullshit. All right. So he turns on the radio. He hears that a bunch of Zodiac people got away and that servicemen were injured. Turn it off. We should have radioed ahead. Warned them. It's all my fault that they... Jesus fucking Christ. It's all my fault that they got hurt. It's all my fault. It's all my fault because this poor kid dropped this ice cream in Harlem, which isn't, which I'm not even in right now, but it's still all my fault because I wasn't there, and it's all my fault that these servicemen got injured when I had nothing to do with it, and I was actually trying to stop the Zodiac, and it's all my fault. Blah 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 blah. Once again, we're still not even at the worst part of this. So Anna Maria explains that they couldn't have radioed ahead because all the transmissions were down. Query, why were you in low Earth orbit? Click, click. Because, oh my gosh, that's it. I went with Fury to get a scan of the Earth to find the thing that the Zodiac stole. I know where to go. Brain, I am an idiot, and you are one smart robot. Affirmative, Dr. Parker. All right. If those are...
Give me a second. Sorry. I have to grab a prop here that I wanted to use back when we had the old podcast during Superior, but I never could because we weren't a video podcast. It's a ball, aka the goddamn Superior Spider-Man idiot ball I keep on talking about that people are holding. Peter, here you go. It's your turn.
I read this panel. I want to put this in context. I read this panel. I sat there bewildered for about 5 minutes, and then I just had to get up and just walk away from the comic because I was just like, I literally said out loud, are you shitting me? Are you shitting me? When we get to our reviews, I will explain why this is complete and utter bullcrap. And I absolutely cannot stand it. If I was giving this issue a letter grade right now, it's got to be, if it's not an F, it's a D, just based on that. Not even accounting for all the other bull crap that we've already gone through in this. So they head over to an address that Peter tracked down from the satellites, and he says, "Oh no, I know this address. I've telecommuted here. I've personally shipped packages here from my office. This is the home of Vernon Jacobs, Parker Industries' biggest shareholder and investor. I've been having weekly meetings with Scorpio." So Spider-Man learns that Scorpio is his biggest shareholder. He finds...
Didn't he already know this?
No, he actually didn't already know this, but he finds Scorpio's secret room. He's like, oh my God, Jacobs has been one step ahead of me this whole time, using my company's resources and playing me like a puppet to do who knows what. What do I do? I'm the hero of this book, but I'm not even smart enough to figure out how to solve this problem. What do I do? Anna, civilian, person who's clearly smarter than me in my own book, please tell me what to do. Call in people. Great idea, Anna. Thank you for saving the day in my own stupid fucking comic. So he gets all of his employees to do all of his dirty work for him, and then all of a sudden Scorpio shows up So I guess we're not on the secure line, are we, Scorpio? Fine, all cards on the table then. For all the good it will do you. We are the Zodiac, and like we say, we are literally the future. One day ahead, to be precise, I get a reading, a daily horoscope of everything that happens. Every horse race, every lottery ticket, every stock tip. Parker Industries. Parker Industries, the little company that couldn't. The failing startup that for no discernible reason suddenly spiked on one magic day when everyone else tumbled. Don't know why, don't really care. I want to let that sink in for a second. Oh my God. You know how a lot of people are complaining, if you like this Parker Industry status quo, c'est la vie, to each his own. I don't begrudge you for that. I'm actually, to be honest, I'm happy to hear if you like it because at least someone does, but it's just like, are you kidding me? You can't even address this criticism of how the heck did this company get this popular? Your explanation for it is there was somehow a Marvel Universe version of Black Tuesday, and I guess Parker Industries was the opposite. It was just the odd man out that day. Are you kidding me?
The way I see it is that that bad day, that was this comic right here.
You see, I thought about that.
Remember, Secret Wars is 8 months after issue 18. So there was enough time for this investor to come in, see that the world was coming to an end, and then buy a whole bunch of fucking stocks. And then when the whole world was made better again at the end of this arc, at the end of Secret Wars, it was like, oh, Parker Industries, because that guy saw a day into the future, already had financial things for them. So that they're the only company just this. So it's not Parker luck; it's that guy's Zodiac's evil powers that did it.
But here's the idea: if all the universes were destroyed, because this is theoretically, Peter Parker was a survivor of the Secret Wars incursions, but theoretically, this is a world rebuilt. So technically, Secret Wars didn't even happen to the perspective of all these people, and so I don't even really see how that's supposed to work. Because I did think about that. I was like, okay, maybe that's a reference to Secret Wars. But then I realized, does that really work?
I don't think so. I think the way it worked is they all knew that the incursions happened because there's been references to stuff in the past, and the incursions are part of that. So I think they know that shit happened, but something happened and it all got better, and everybody kind of like one more day and century, they're like, oh, something happened. I just can't remember it. Whatever. Okay, whatever. Go. What else to do?
I don't know. Maybe that's the reason, but
I think that's what it is. I think he's hinting at that he became a stalker in between not stalker. You know what I mean, though. He became an investor in between Amazing 18 and Secret Wars. He saw into that event because he could see in the future. Did something so that way Parker Industries could get money, and then when the whole world was fixed, it was like, oh, all your other companies lost money when the world came to an end. Because Tony Stark even kind of says that, where Stark Industry is not as rich as it once was. So he's like, oh, yeah, all these companies are hurt, but not ours.
All that mattered was that we were there to invest and reap the rewards. All those dividends. Be sure to tell Parker it was his profits that funded everything we've done so far and what we're about to do. No, not while I can. You really shouldn't cross me. It all goes away. I'm so deep into this company, all the secure emails I've read, the things I know, if I wanted, I could destroy everything your friend Parker has built. Those spider toys he's made for you, the jobs he's created, his charity work, wealth, fame, all that power, gone forever. He'd have nothing. Wrong. You don't know him like I do. He'd still have one thing, his responsibility. Yep. Let's finish this. I don't know where you are or what you're planning, but I know it's big, and I know if we don't stop you, it will be our fault. God damn it. If one more person says it's all my fault, I'm gonna lose it. So yeah, I'm ready to lose it all if it means taking you down. Look, I'm just gonna throw this out there. I'm not a religious person. Please take Parker Industries down. Please. I'm desperate, James. I'm just...
I mean, I think we hit that boiling point that other Spider-Man podcasts and websites have hit a while ago. I think we finally got to our jump the shark moment, and it was this issue.
Here is the thing. Like, everyone knows me. Like, okay, not everyone knows me, but like, people who watch this podcast may know that I try to be pretty lenient. I try to ascribe positive attributes to the book. I try to see what I can enjoy. And when you know what, when there is just something that just utterly annoys the piss out of me, like, I mean, James, I think you can confirm this. It's not often that you see me like this on this podcast.
I mean, this is going to be like the negative episode, and it all spoils down to this stuff. And I can sum it up right here, because when you got to the final panels of that issue, I can officially confirm 100% what I have thought and what other Spider-Man fans have been thinking. This guy right here, that guy, and this guy is not the fucking same thing as this guy.
Oh my God. I wish we could talk about that comic right now, James.
You know what I mean, though? That guy's Peter Parker. This guy's Peter Parker. This guy during Shinitzky's run, that's Peter Parker. This during Carnage first appearance in the 90s, that's Peter Parker.
This comic that I still have on my desk here from last week's podcast that I never bothered to put away.
This is Peter Parker being drowned on the day he got engaged to Mary Jane. This is Peter Parker who's being torn apart by the black suit and the red suit when he finds out it's a living symbiote. I don't know who this guy is. He's just not Peter Parker.
For me, it's just the fact that it's like, I'll get the positives out of the way. I did have some positive aspects of this book. I like the artwork. The artwork is gorgeous because Cameron Coley, Smith, Gracia, they always do a great job. And this cover, I mean, I love this cover. It's absolutely awesome. I did like Peter sacrificing himself for the civilians. That's definitely something I could see Peter Parker doing. I definitely think that's in character. And though I will say, it's like when he has to do it twice in one issue, it's just like, okay, you just did this 5 pages ago. Stop it, all right? You just did this. It's annoying. But let me what I really want to talk about here, and for those of you who read the article review that I wrote on Spider-Man Fan Rave, you will know that I talked about the Doc Ock Spider-Man, I'm an idiot and you sure are one smart bot. I talked about that at length in that review. I only scratched the surface of what I think. To put it blatantly, what the fucking hell is this shit? All right? Because, I mean, like, I'm sorry. I don't mean to, you know, I'll just preface this by saying that this podcast is fully based on our opinions alone. We do not pretend to be experts on Spider-Man. We do not pretend to know how he should be written. We have our opinions, and that's all they are. We in no way are factual. In no way is this objective. But from a subjective standpoint of someone who's loved Spider-Man since he was a little kid, this panel pissed me off to honestly an embarrassing degree. Because here's the thing. I really try not to get upset or angry at comic books. It's like, it's fiction. It's not worth getting upset over. There are a lot bigger problems in this real world that we live in that are worthy of getting upset about. I should be it's like, if I'm going to get stressed about something, it should be, my schoolwork. It should be, my job. It should be whatever I'm doing. I should be putting time into relationships, all that stuff. That's what I should be getting upset about. And I will say I'm embarrassed as to how pissed off I am about this, but
I'm not.
Like, are you kidding me with this? The common criticism that I've heard ever since Superior Spider-Man ended 2 years ago, is that Peter Parker has been written to look like the inferior Spider-Man, that it's almost been shoved down our throats that Otto was really the guy who had it right and that Peter should learn from him. I've disagreed with that criticism from time to time, and I've tried to defend the book. There's no defense here. Absolutely none. Because when you have Peter Parker out loud say to Doc Ock, I mean, he doesn't know it's Doc Ock because he can't put two and two together because it's part of a larger problem with this.
It's the superior idiot ball, and finally Peter gets a turn with it. Like I said, it's finally whoever held did last year in Superior Spider-Man finally said, "Hey, I should pass this to Peter. Catch."
Brain, I'm an idiot, and you are one smart robot. You just not only did you just remind us of that criticism, you just basically confirmed that criticism because that's what the panel.
That's during Spider-Verse, but I think he confirmed it during Spider-Verse, but this was him like writing it in Tombstone. Here lies Peter Parker. Otto's better. Ha 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 ha.
Here lies Peter Parker, the character that everyone's excited to see in Civil War, in the Civil War movie. The guy who's being played by Tom Holland, who by the way, Tom Holland has gotten I've literally not heard a single bad review about him. Everyone loves him apparently, which good for him. Congratulations, well done, Tom.
People said he's the most accurate Spider-Man, and I really hope that that's true. I really want that to be true. People have said they finally got it right. They finally found a guy who is Peter Parker and Spider-Man, not one of the others.
And if that's true, I say congratulations, good work, Tom. Absolutely, good work. But get back on this comic. It's just I don't want to read this book where Peter Parker is just presented as this no good waste of a superhero who is incapable of doing his own job, who has to rely on. Do you remember, James, ASM 18 last year, where the Parker Industries building fell and Peter had to be saved
for this?
And Peter had to be saved because Peter had to be saved from the fucking Ghost, a D-list Iron Man villain who Tony Stark could kill in his sleep. Peter had to be saved from the Ghost by Anna Maria and Clayton Cole. Two civilians. Peter had to be saved by civilians. And I got all up on that because I was like, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. This is just character assassination. Because I'm just
he wants to write Spider-Man, but he doesn't want to write Peter Parker. Just come on and say it.
I mean, look, when we say that, it's all conspiracy theory. We don't know this for sure, but I think
it's almost this is completely this is my opinion. I'm not going to be like somebody who says it's my way or the highway or say I'm right, and I don't. I have no source. I have never met Dan Slott besides for the few interactions I maybe had with him on a message board where he has replied to my post or I replied to over post he made. Besides for that shit, I have never talked to Dan Slott ever before in my life. But I think that this just confirms what I have felt since before 700. That he likes writing Spider-Man, but he's tired of writing Peter Parker.
And I've defended Dan Slott. I've criticized him and I've defended him. I like a lot of his big time stuff. I love Renew Your Vows. Let's think back to issue 1 of this. I was very positive towards the first issue of this. I want this to be over. I want this. I'm not calling for Dan Slott's resignation. What I'm calling for is the end of this. I'm done with this Parker Industries stuff. I'm done with the idiot Spider-Man. I'm
to the point of after the whole Dan Slott thing with him and DC that broke earlier this week. And it's kind of been hinted on he's staying at Marvel for 3 more years and he's going to be on Spider-Man. I'm getting to the point of if things keep on going the way they are, he might be on Spider-Man 3 years from now, but I'm not. Because I just don't like where we're heading. And I haven't liked this road since 700.
I want to throw this out there right
I feel like I honestly feel like he got burnt out after Spider Alley. But he wants to keep on going for whatever reason. He's like, I gotta write Spider-Man, write Spider-Man. But you're not. And you're this ain't Peter Parker. I don't know who. It's not even Otto in the body. This is supposedly Peter Parker.
This is.
You can't relate to him no more.
This is just a moron. This is just.
This is the problem that I had on But I've been on Ranger Board at CBR, and I had people bash me saying I'm just a Dan Slott hater. That I'm like, I know Jonathan Manning for mentioning them on air, but I'm we're just like the crawl space. We're negative. We hate Spider-Man. We hate Dan Slott. We have some personal vendetta against him. I'm wrong. I'm a hater. And this is the same criticism I had then. He has to be saved by everybody, and he's Spider-Man. He has to be saved by Dan Slott's new creation, Silk. He has to be saved by the guy from Learning to Crawl. He has to be saved by Anna Maria. Otto has to be the guy who everybody says is fucking right during Spider-Verse. And here's Peter holding that damn superior idiot ball. He can't fucking tell common sense that that's fucking Otto talking. Like, that's the same bullshit that happened during Superior. And not only that, he says the same thing that everybody's been saying since Peter came back. Oh, wow, I'm the idiot. You're the smart one.
And he's just like, why would you do this? Why would you absolutely destroy your main protagonist and the most popular Marvel superhero that there is? Why would you do this?
I mean, like, I seen somebody else say this online. Somebody else who's very criticism on Dan Slott. They said they feel like Dan Slott lied. And this is somebody else saying it. I'm not saying I'm saying this, and I'm not saying that he did. But in Superior 31, where it came out and said, "You're the true Spider-Man," Slott didn't mean it.
Because you know what? I'm going to give my grade here. It's not a thumbs up, not a thumbs down, or it's not a thumbs sideways, it's not a thumbs down. It's a middle finger. All right? I know that sounds really condescending. And that sounds really awful. But, and I actually gave this a thumb sideways on my website. And maybe this anger that I'm feeling right now is actually because I have a migraine right now. So maybe you could chalk this up to illness. But
give Otto a Peter Parker clone body, make him the goddamn superior Spider-Man, and then have him on a solo book that Dan can write and give somebody else a mailing. That's where I feel like right now.
To give context to this, I'm reading, I'll list off the books I'm reading right now. I'm reading Miles Spider-Man. I'm reading the Spidey book. I'm reading all different Avengers. I'm reading Captain America Sam Wilson, Invincible Iron Man. Oh God, I completely forgot what books I'm mentioning, but I don't know if I said Miles Spider-Man already, but yeah. And I'm reading all of those, and I'm reading this. If I had to rank where I'd put this book in my poll list of what I'm enjoying, this is at the bottom. I look forward to this book only because it's Peter Parker. At least that's what I said to myself.
Yeah, I can't even say that.
That's what I said to myself really before I read this issue. Because this isn't him anymore.
It's not. I'm waiting for them to reveal that the real Peter Parker mind is still somewhere in like an Autobot somewhere. And then this was just what Spock thought it was. It was a conscious that thought it was still Peter Parker. Because he's not acting like Peter no more. I can't even say he's acting like Tony. Because there's some stuff he does in this issue that I'm really negative about. This guy basically said, your company wasn't you. Like Johnny pointed out, it wasn't because Peter got the company big. It's because of this guy. Peter should have been like, oh my God, you cheated the stock market for me and my company. And he almost plays off as, yeah, you cheated for the stock market and you might cheat for it now and then try to sabotage the company. I don't care because I still got my responsibility. No, Peter should be fucking like, wait a second, what?
And it's like, and you know what else? He gets to Scorpio's lair and he says, oh my God, what do I do? Ask for help. I just did. Yes, thank you, Peter. Thank you for emphasizing that you couldn't even come up with your own plan.
I've been saying this and people are getting me negative about it. But it's been this way since Superior ended. When Peter came back. So I'll count all of Superior as this too because we had Otto say this in every freaking issue until the final issue. It's just Peter can't do shit now. Peter could figure out before goddamn the metric system. There's issues. I guarantee you, I got a whole bunch, all over the place. Back issues and, trade paperbacks and Marvel Unlimited. I bet you I can find one issue for the past of 616 Peter Parker where he has known the metric system. where he has solved the same problems he's been solving in his own book, Sense Superior, that for some reason now he's too fucking stupid to do. This ain't 15-year-old Peter Parker just beginning Amazing Fantasy 15. This is a 30-something now Peter Parker, who we have seen before with J. Michael Straczynski written well as a well-rounded, normal guy with a normal life and a job and a career and a wife and everything. Now he's this man-child, whiny little idiot. That's not Peter Parker.
Hey,
I want Peter Parker. Give me Peter Parker.
Remember this? Remember these comics? Remember when Peter took on Venom all by himself?
Remember when Peter used to use his brain? Granted, the Ditko era had ideas like him using his brain was vacuum cleaning Sandman and shit like that. But at least he thought about it. If Slott wrote that, it would have been Peter like, what do I do? What do I do? Liz Allen runs in, vacuum clean him. Great idea, Liz. You're so much smarter than me, Peter Parker, the science nerd in the class. I'm an idiot. I can't. Okay, Otto starting up the company, but Peter Parker, because they have done issues like that before, where he has gone, well, I could be the Tony Stark, I can be Hank Pym, I can be Reed Richards, I can be the big scientist with a lot of money in the company, but I got too much responsibility being Spider-Man that gets in the way, but I could be like them. No, now you're telling me he can't, because he couldn't even get his own millions for his company. Not only did Spock had to do it, but Scorpio had to do it for him. It wasn't Peter Parker. Peter Parker, I don't even think this Peter can even get dressed in the morning without Aunt May changing his clothes.
I don't think he can. I think that's a perfectly solid argument.
I think as soon as he gets to put pants on and shirt, his brain just fries and someone else has to do it for him. He probably has some moments of the day where he's sitting there in the boardroom where he's like, oh my God, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Peter. Oh yeah, thank you for reminding me how to breathe. He's an idiot. This ain't Peter Parker. What happened to him?
And it's just like that final panel where he's like, oh, I'm ready to sacrifice everything. Please, just put us out of our misery. It's like, and here's the thing. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
I mean, there's nothing to look forward to. I mean, you got Power Play, which I already know how that's probably going to end up now. It's going to be Peter and MJ even more divided and separated because they got to be on different sides for Civil War 2, which pisses me off for Civil War 1, where you see where they're at Civil War 1 and where they're going to probably be at Civil War 2. It's completely batshit crazy to me how we got that way. And then you're going to have, Dead No More, where it's just going to be Spider-Verse. It's going to be this big, massive event where you're going to have to get all these little, satellite titles and these spin-offs and these miniseries and these one-shot tie-ins, and you're going to have to pick it all up, and it's going to be this big thing that's built up. It's going to change Spider-Man's world forever, and all this is just another footnote in Dan Slott's fan fiction, in my opinion.
And I can't even deal with this book. All right, it's just if I had to give a letter grade, it's an F-. If I'll take back the middle finger. I'll give it a thumbs down, but just
here. I'll get if we're giving actual grades, not thumbs up, thumbs down. If we're giving like letter grades, I'm giving this comic an F. And you want to know why I'm giving this comic an F? For the exact letter, for the exact first letter in the word that the middle finger means.
Yeah, because
like I said, this guy is not Peter anymore. Me and John are both at that point where I'm reading this, and it's like, I'm not, okay, it's a wonderful to say I'm not reading Spider-Man, I'm reading Iron Man. I'm not even reading Peter Parker.
And it's just like, I said right at the beginning of this volume, I said, oh, this is a good fish out of water scenario where he's still Peter Parker. It's not true. It's not true anymore.
It's the problem that I had in volume 3. And instead of addressing the problem and fixing the problem. Because we know Dan can write good stories. Renew Your Vows is good.
Spider Island is good. I like Spider Island. I like the first big time story.
I have said this 100 times. Back during the Brand Day era, I felt like he was the best of the bunch. Now I'm starting to think, was he the best because he had a check and balance system of editors and 4 or 5 different writers to keep the bad ideas at bay? And then once he became on his own, Like, he's like Vince Russo. It's a wrestling term, but there's a wrestling writer who used to work for Vince McMahon in the WWF in the 98, 97, 98, 99, I think even 96. Like, he started working in 94, but he started becoming a head writer around the mid-90s, late 90s. And he was the mastermind behind Stone Cold Steve Austin, DX. He came up with a great storylines that made wrestling gain like 9 million viewers a weekly night, beating out Monday Night Football in ratings. And then he went to the rival company WCW, and he had wrestlers' mothers on a pole matches and pinata matches and parodies of WWF guys, and him doing shoot interviews where he's breaking characters and having the announcers say, hey, he's not being his character. He was supposed to get pinned there. Get it? Because wrestling's fake? And he killed that company. And a lot of people said it's because he had that filter. He had other writers, and he had Vince McMahon there to rein him in. And then when he went to WCW and he was the only guy, he had no filter for the bad ideas he had. I feel like that's what's flawed. The brain trust kept his check and balance. That he became the solo writer of Amazing Spider-Man, and it's for a while there it was good. It had some bad issues, but it had some really good stuff. No One Dies. I can't remember what was it called? Like No One Dies. Or
No One Dies. No One Dies.
Spider Island. That Vulture story. I even kind of liked the Alpha story because I liked how it showed how a modern day teenager would react if you got that powers and not a kid from the 60s.
I personally, I loved the Phil York Hobgoblin stuff. I loved all that stuff. I loved that.
Everybody else was bitching about him chopping off Hobgoblin's head. I said, it's Daniel. It's not Roderick, it's Daniel. It's Hobgoblin. You know it. They're going to reveal it's the twin brother, so don't get mad about it. I love that first that first issue where like he's like with the Spider Slayer and he's punching and Jonah stopped me. He was like, Jonah, don't you get it? I'm a card carrying Avenger. I'm an Avenger now. You can't arrest me. I'm not a vigilante. I'm a card carrying superhero. He's like, no, my son's on that rocket. Save him, which is a complete polar opposite of what happened in issue 1, where he started to credit Spider-Man and had the FBI go after him for saving his son from rocket. Now he's begging Peter to do it. There was good ideas, and it's like as soon as he got done with Spider-Verse and Ends of the Earth, but that was kind of building up towards 700 and Superior, I think he got burnt out on Peter. He's like, I can't write Peter no more, and I think he deep down even wants to write down Peter and Mary Jane. Like Renier Valls proves that he can write a very good Peter and Mary Jane together. I think once he got to there, he was like, well, I can't have him do Mary Jane. He's working for Horizon Labs. I don't have nothing else to do with him. Oh, I'll put Spock in his body. And then that goes on for a while, and then I think he fell in love with, it's different and edgy. It's Spock. It's basically me. It's if I was Spider-Man. Oh, it's so edgy and cool, and he's so much smarter than Peter. Oh, the movie's coming out. I got to make it Peter again? Well, God, what do I do? What do I do? Well, I like Spock as Spider-Man. Oh, I got an idea. I'll introduce a female version of him, and she'll be totally cool and awesome, and I'll create another character who is read between the lines from Amazing 15, and it's going to be this Clash kid, and he's gonna be totally cool and awesome working for Parker Industries, and he's gonna save him. Then, my Spider-Verse idea, I can do it here, and it can be my love letter to Otto. The world's coming to an end. I can finally write my Peter and Mary Jane started married, because remember they said you get to write the Spider-Man tie-in. He said, can I write Peter and Parker married to Mary Jane? And they said, yeah, go for it. You can do anything goes. Okay, bye. And then he gets back to this, and he's like, okay, let me go to my favorite issues of Batman and Iron Man, and completely not get why those characters are that way, and somehow justify it with Peter Parker, who, by the way, is acting the same way he did in Volume 3, where he was the idiot who had to be saved by everybody and their dog.
And it's just like, I don't enjoy this. I don't.
None of us do. I mean, I'm going to make a quote. And John Commander, I feel bad when me and you are ranting right now, because we don't want to be that podcast where we're just shitting on the book and it's our way or the highway, our opinions. Everybody else is factually wrong. Also, we don't want to be that. We want to be the upbeat one, but you got to give us something.
I can't be upbeat when I'm depressed. It's just like I can't do it.
I'm getting to the point, like I said, if Slott stays on the good book for 3 more years. Good for you. 3 more years of you making big time money being the writer of Amazing Spider-Man. No ill will towards him. If I was in his position, I'd probably do the same damn thing he's doing. I'm not afraid to admit that. I'm a fan. I would be a fanboy writing my fanfics of Spider-Man issues and then be official, and I'd be having the time of my life. I think any Spider-Man fan would say that they would do the same thing. You're a liar if you're saying you want it.
Yeah.
But there's a reason why we're not. Why we're not the writer of Amazing Spider-Man.
Because
and it's like
James said it. You said it earlier. You're like, to just kind of rephrase what you said, Slott may be making money off of this for 3 more years, but it may not. There's a possibility that it may not be our money.
I'm getting to. I'm not there yet because I love this podcast and I still love Spider-Man. But I'm seeing where every other Spider-Man fan who doesn't like this run at, and I'm kind of like waving at them, and it's like I see that, there's that one last stop before the Titanic hits that iceberg, and I can jump off the boat. I still got that 1 foot on, but I'm not afraid to, before we hit that iceberg, I'm not afraid to jump completely off. Because I know, because the way it looks like right now, the captain, Dan Slott doesn't see it, but that iceberg is coming where the sales are already dropping. But there's going to come a point where everybody, even people who are liking his run, are going to start to leave, because it's going to get to the point that even though people are like, oh, this book's not good, this ain't Spider-Man no more. I mean, you got it being Otto back in the body again or something like that.
And it's just like, I mean, I'm not going to drop this title anytime soon because, like I said, I love this podcast, and it's going to take a lot more than this probably to get me to drop the book. Like, you're going to have to, like, physically offend me probably. But it's just like, I don't enjoy this, and I so desperately want this to be over. I want this Parker Industries status quo gone. I think it's time to build back from the ground up. Yeah.
If Slott's ideas, do what they're doing with Scott Snyder. Give him in continuity, but it's not touching anything else that's going on in the other book, satellite title, and give somebody else amazing. You got to do that now. You're at the point of, if I was Marvel, I'm pulling Dan Slott. I don't care how much you can say that he made money and all that shit for them and whatever. Creatively, where the character's at, I would say I need a new. If I'm the editor, I would say we need somebody new here. We need something fresh. We need. I hate to say this because there's so many people who are going to be like, "Oh, this is hypocritical." They need to just hit the reboot button and go back to status quo with him, living in Queens and being the down on his luck, single guy. Because at least then you got something to build off of. When Slott eventually gets off the book in 3 years, I don't know what the writer's going to end up with.
Hang on, I got to call Satan here. I need another 1 more day. Hang on, I'll be right back. Here's the thing. When I'm telling you that I need another 1 more day, you might have a problem worth fixing.
Not even 1 more day. You just need this thing to end, because that's the end game probably. The final issue of Slott's run is going to be Parker Industry crumbling, and he's so much in debt that he has to move back in with Aunt May.
It's just like you've got to start over.
He's not. Me and you both sound like a broken record on this episode, but it's because it needs to be said. We're at that point that a lot of people are at. This ain't Peter Parker. We don't recognize him no more. I want my hero that I had back in the 90s cartoon that got me into him. I want the Spider-Man who I've been reading since 2004. I want Peter back. I don't know who this guy is.
These 2 comics are not representative of who Spider-Man is. These 2 comics are what some of us out in the country and some of us, maybe in the city, would call bullshit. Because,
like I said, I can't even call it an Iron Man and Batman one, because he's getting to the point I can't even see those 2 guys doing some of the shit.
Because it's like, at least, you could probably argue that Tony Stark's a jackass, but at least he knows his way around things.
And at least when he designs an Iron Man outfit, or when he does something with Stark Industries, or Bruce Wayne does something with Wayne Enterprises or something, it's them. It's not revealed that, it was a secret villain all along doing it because the character's too fucking stupid to do it. It was Mandarin who made all of Tony Stark's millions. It wasn't Tony. No. This is like, you're telling me he can't even start his own company. You're telling me your big status quo change of, we're not going to give you the marriage because we're not giving you the marriage. But here's the best thing we're giving him. He's running his own business. He's a rich guy. He goes to poker night now with Tony Stark and Reed Richards and Hank Pym and all the other science doctors owning companies. He's in their league now. Everything, you're finally seeing that Peter Parker who is there, where the Avengers are like begging on his door for him to join them, and he's a member. He's helping out Shield. This is the Spider-Man who's finally grown up, and he's finally the veteran hero. And at the cost, they lost Peter Parker. Like in a one more day tie in here, at the cost of his soul, because I do not recognize this guy no more.
All right. I mean, I think, James, do you have anything else? I've covered everything. I think.
I think we both did. I'm definitely think you should just name this episode if you don't like podcasters that are really negative about Amazing Spider-Man, spoiler, please stop after movie talk.
We will just conclude by saying that it is just our opinion. You know, we don't pretend to be experts. We don't pretend to be the guys who know who are factually correct. If you like this take, if you like these issues, to be honest with you, I'm happy that you do, because at least somebody does. Yeah, but I do not like these issues.
If you like this and you don't agree with, if you don't agree with me and John in our opinions of this issue or this current run, and you think it's awesome, well then think it's awesome. Nobody's telling you not to like it. I'm not like one of those assholes who are calling you stupid and wrong for liking something I don't like. If you like it, like it. I just feel like it's not for me now.
It's not the character I grew up. I mean, like, I hate when people say that. I hate that criticism so much. When they say, "Oh, it's not the character I grew up with," but it's like, it's not even the character that I know anymore. It's just like, it's not the character that.
It's like, I'm not to the point that some people are, like Brand New Day, where they're like, "Oh, Aunt May has to be a ditz about Spider-Man again, and he has to be down in his life working for the Bugle." I'm not saying that, but he has to still be somewhere Peter Parker. You can't just throw in the whole, "Well, I am Peter Parker because I have responsibility," but then he does fucking nothing with it.
All right, that's gonna conclude our review section for this episode. I can't even deal with this anymore. So that's going to conclude the review section for this episode. That's also going to conclude this episode of the podcast. We don't have anything else to talk about. So, James, final words and any shout-outs before we sign off.
Whatever happened to what's her name? That was such a big deal the arc before. She's once again not even mentioned no more.
Gone. They didn't deal with her. They just didn't deal with her. Just gone.
Yeah, exactly. Remember back in the good old days where if it was either him married to Mary Jane or dating Gwen or his kind of flirtatious relationship with Black Cat and all that. Even Carly now is in that level where at least she was fucking there. It's like you can't even give us Peter Parker love life drama no more. I mean, I think we just ranted on the whole like last few years of Spider-Man and got it all out of our system, but next month when we pick up the next issue, it's all going to come flooding back to us.
Oh no, it's not next month. It's 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks. We got 2 issues this month.
Oh, then God, I'm going to say this right now, because John's not really that religious, but I'm not super religious either. But I do believe in something. I do believe in a higher power. If I can call it somebody else, but I think right now that he hates us. God hates us. That is 2 weeks until we got to get the conclusion to a storyline that I just don't give a shit about. When he escaped at the end of the midway part of this issue, I got mad. It's like, oh no, just end the comic. End the comic. There is a joke in an episode of Mystery Science Theater where one of the robots, because the movie is not ending and it's a really bad movie, and they're having a dance montage during the credits, and it's still going on. It's like it had 5 minutes of the movie and they said the credits going on during it, and the robot is screaming, and that was me. I'm Tom Servo in that situation. I'm reading the comic book and I'm like, and.
All right, James. Any final words or shout outs to the listeners before we go?
Shout out to every other good Spider-Man story, because this current stuff is making it look 10 times better.
All right. Shout out to Marvel, Stan Lee, Steve Ditko. Thank you for Spider-Man. Other shout out this week, Tom Holland, Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., all of them, Civil War, hearing a lot of good things. And Tom Holland evidently is getting really good reviews, so shout out to him for doing that.
Shout out to Peter Parker's sister that hasn't been mentioned in a while.
Shout out to what else am I going to shout out to this week? Shout out to the Spidey book. That's decent. Shout out to I'll recommend a good Spider-Man comic, and I recommended this last week, but I'm going to recommend it again. if you're not reading Miles Morales Spider-Man, you're missing out. That's a damn good book. I love it. And that's actually my favorite book that I'm buying right now. Yeah, I think that's going to cover it. Yeah, that's going to cover it. So we apologize, I guess, that we were so negative on this episode, but in a way we don't apologize because it's just our opinions, but it's just like we just had to get that out. So we think
it's like me and you said, like I apologize too. If you don't agree with me, that's fine. Nobody is telling you that you're wrong for liking it. I'm not saying it. John's not saying it. Nobody, at least in our Spider-Man bubble, the fandom, is saying that. It's just not for us. We don't like it. We're bitching at it because we don't like it. We think it offends us in some places. We think it's bad. We think it's terrible writing. We think it's this. But if you like it, well, more party. Because like John said, I'm happy somebody likes a version of Spider-Man. It's not my Spider-Man, but at least I'm happy that there is somebody who likes a version of Spider-Man.
All right, so we will sign off for this week. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Thank you for all the viewers who actually stuck with us while we were just ranting there. We actually, you know what's ironic, James? We've actually had some of our highest live viewer count, and it came in while we were doing that massive rant.
I think it's because so many people are like to that point now with Spider-Man that if it's a podcast or it's a web show or something like that, and you put Spider-Man on it, they're just people. You're gonna get hits now because people just want to say, "Oh, I got to see what they say about it." You know, like you know what I mean? Though it's like it's controversy creating cash almost.
All right, but thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you next week. So yeah, hope you have a good life. Hope everything goes well for you, and see you all later.